Welcome to Uncle Dan's Front Porch. Why don't you just come right on up, sit down for a while, grab yourself some coffee, and if you ain't got a coat on, you're probably going to need one. It's a little windy and chilly this morning, but it's beautiful. All right, so this is week 3 of a series, and we're going to wrap it up on keeping it simple. Week 1, we talked about about simplifying things, reducing things, clarifying what's important, and some simple things as far as what it means to walk with God, loving people, and seeking justice or doing right, loving mercy, and walking humbly with God. Those are some simple things that kind of sum up what it means to live the way life was designed to be lived. Now, in week 2, I talked about what I call the 6 S's of simplified living. I'm not going to go into detail with that. If you want to know what that is, just go back and watch week 2. And then this week, I just want to go over some things that I think are helpful in keeping things simplified or focused for yourself. I think a big thing that I can do to keep my life simple is to create good habits. Because the thing with habits is, after a while, you just do them without having to put as much effort into making sure they happen. One of my habits that I started is every morning, every now and then I skip, but every morning I get on my smartphone and I use a Bible app called it's called a Bible app. It used to be called YouVersion, and in the comments section I'll post a picture of what it looks like, and so you know what you're looking on to download it for download the app. Anywho, this wind's blowing my papers around. I think another thing you need to do is get a little exercise. Now, if you're like me, the word exercise doesn't sound that great. You associate that with a lot of pain and suffering and not much feel good. So I'm gonna recommend you find an activity that you enjoy, and just schedule time to make it happen. There's some physical benefits to it. There's some mental benefits to it. And one thing it does, at least for me anyway, it just kind of blocks out a lot of distractions. It just kind of gives you some people actually like to think about things. Me personally, just listening to some positive music while I like to run. Now, I haven't been doing it for a while. I got lazy, to be honest with you. But my intention is to get that habit going again. Another thing I recommend is carving out time for rest and meditation. Now, if you notice in the comment section on week 1, my brother actually left a comment and said that's one way of helping keep your life simplified, and I agree with that. Carving out time for rest. And also meditation. Now, I don't know what your definition of meditation is, but for me, meditation is focused thinking, pondering, reviewing, rehearsing, planning. Did you ever drive down the road by yourself and you find yourself just solving the world's problems? That's one way of meditating. I recommend you spend that time focused on solving your own problems instead of the world's problems. But that's a time where you can think through things. Sometimes it's meditating on a thought or a passage of scripture. Sometimes meditating is just planning, thinking about how you want to organize things for the future. Sometimes it is problem solving. And a lot of times for me, I include having a conversation with God. In the midst of all those activities, I like to include him in that, because he's the most powerful being in the universe and the smartest. And so I want him to direct my thinking. And also another good thing to do when you're by yourself is talk to God about the things that are making you anxious, and just kind of dump those on him, and not hang on to those things. Will help keep your mind clear and not bog you down with your problems. Now, one thing I think is really beneficial is making a list of your priorities. And it may take a process for you to get your priorities figured out. And I'm not going to suggest for you what your priorities should be, because each person's got their own, what's important to them. But having that list of priorities makes it easier for you to say yes and no to the opportunities and demands of the people around you. You ever heard people say, well, I just didn't have time? In reality, the more proper answer should be, it's just not a priority to me. And we have competing priorities, so we got to figure out what our priorities are and which ones rank higher. And sometimes we're going to have to say no to some things that are important to us because there's things more important. So it really helps simplify things. And then when people want to get upset about why you didn't say yes to something they wanted you to do, it's pretty simple for you. I'm sorry, I love you, but I have a competing priority that's more important right now. Another thing that having that list of priorities does for you is it helps you you start stripping out the things that don't match your priorities in the direction you want to take your life. It's called decluttering. So that would be very, very helpful to keeping your life simplified. And another thing that you do once you have your priorities figured out is then you start feeding your brain with materials and things that help you grow in the direction that you want your life to take. This is Uncle Dan on his front porch, wishing you a prosperous new year and a simple one. God bless.